One of the missions of the Localization Division is to create a quality game that overseas users will not recognize as a Japanese game. That's a red flag, first off. Second off, this is what I've been talking about. This is just straight up a mask-off moment. Like, these translators, or in this case, localizers, are not even trying to hide the fact that they fundamentally want to change the entire meaning of games or anime to fit a narrative or agenda. That's crazy. Like, you realize how insane that is? They straight up said that we don't even want the original work to have the same message anymore if it's translated into a different language. Like, we don't want you to even think that it's a Japanese game. That is... There's just so many things I could say about that statement alone, but let's continue reading, because it gets so much worse. We do not simply translate or dub the audio. We pay close attention to the smallest details, taking into account overseas cultures and trends, and in some cases, we even consult with the development team to change the character appearances and game content. Why the hell does a localization team that is meant to do the dubbing, the translating, and the audio for a game able to make decisions like fundamentally changing character appearances and game content? Why are these localization divisions given that much power? And that's a question I have to ask. If you ever wanted any proof of what these localizers are not just doing to games, but to anime, here it is. They just went straight up mask off that they're able to intervene with the ground floor, the cutting room floor of creating something and fundamentally censor it. That's what this basically is. If it is something that, a certain country doesn't like, or they don't like a certain group of people, or they don't want a certain group of people being offended, they will tell the creators of this work for either anime, maybe manga, or in this case games, to censor their work, to not upset people. Oh my goodness. I'm going to say, though, there is some good news to this story. And you want to know what that is? The individual that was in charge of this localization division at Square Enix was laid off. I have never been more happy to see someone fired than when I read this post. This right here is insane. Yusuke Haruguchi, Localization Project Manager in the Japanese branch, seems to be affected by the Square Enix layoffs. He stated they take into account overseas cultures and trends and even consult with the development team to change the character appearances and game content. I cannot believe there was actually a division at Square Enix in Japan that was doing something like this. This makes so much sense why there's so many Japanese games that just straight up get censored. There is many examples. Like, one good example is, like, Dragon Quest. A lot of people might be aware of this or not aware of this. It's kind of old news. But even Dragon Quest gets censored. There's a lot of games that, just fundamentally, when they're now recreated or remade or whatever, they get full-blown censored. This right here is a big amount of evidence, like just straight up mask off moment, that you have actually these entities or these localization teams having enough power to intervene with the development and creation of works to get things censored. I am so happy the project manager of this localization division got laid off. Honestly, anyone systematically that was a part of this team that was approving of this should be fired. I'm just going to be honest. Because I'm just going to straight up say it. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off, and I'm going to be completely blunt here. The fact that you have a statement where they want to translate Japanese games into a different language or culture and fundamentally make it feel like not a Japanese game, I don't know if racist is the right term for this. I don't know. But it feels racist. It does. It feels wrong. It's like your Japanese game isn't good if it is translated properly. So we need to change pretty much everything about it for it doesn't feel like a Japanese game. That's basically what was stated here. That is the exact statement pretty much you can pull from this dialogue. And I'm just like, this is what so many different things have been happening now in the industry. Like, I'm willing to bet you, this isn't just strictly Square Enix. This is fundamentally almost every single company, not just in the market for gaming, but for anime. Like, obviously, we have seen a lot of changes with anime. A lot of anime gets censored nowadays. They get straight up censored from the very inception of creation into an anime. I wonder if these localization teams, like for instance, like Crunchyroll, for instance, has a massive pool. They probably do, in getting a lot of things censored. Because this right here is crazy. Actually insane. So yeah, overall, I'm covering this news to let more people aware of what is probably not just going on in gaming, but with anime. But also, some good news that this individual got fired. I am glad to see Square Enix kind of taking out the trash and being done with individuals like this, because this isn't okay. It's not. It's pretty much saying that the Japanese work isn't good enough, and it needs to be changed from the ground up to fit a standard for around the world. And I'm just like, no. Keep Japanese games for the Japanese. That's my opinion on that. But, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Short video today, but I wanted to talk about this one because this blew me away when I read this, and it actually kind of pissed me off. But then I saw he was fired, and I was like, okay, good news. But the amount of damage that this individual's probably done to so many different games is, I cannot begin to imagine. And there's probably individuals like this within the localization of anime that's doing the exact same thing that we're completely unaware of. I hope we get some news on that eventually. Hopefully, Sony, since they technically own Crunchyroll, starts cleaning the house there as well. But I'll leave it at that. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below how you feel about this news. Do you think this is good or bad news? Well, technically it's good since they're fired, but how do you feel about the damage they have caused? Be honest in the comments below. I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.